So, it's tier list season, so you know that I, myself, need to jump in on the hype. But, instead of making a tier list for all the characters like you might expect, we're going to make a tier list for every one of Bridget's moves. This will be separated into 5 different tiers. At the bottom, we just have moves that Bridget has. This is for attacks you will pull out, but they don't really do anything particularly amazing, or are really just universal mechanics that everyone else has. Good moves are for attacks that might fill in a pretty good gap within Bridget's toolkit, but they don't do it all too well, or are probably just outdone within other attacks within their class. Still, they're not the worst. In fact, they might be pretty good at their job. Coming up next is for moves that are pretty powerful within their niche, and this is for attacks that do what they do pretty well, but otherwise aren't very versatile or might have a critical flaw that holds them back, sometimes for good reason. And then towards the top, we have moves that are necessary for her game plan. That title is self-explanatory. These are the moves you will be using all the time, and they are pivotal to how you play Bridget. Without these moves, in short, this character will feel incomplete. There also might be one hidden tier above that, but we'll get to that when it happens. One last thing is that I will be grouping the follow-up to our S and H buttons together, as they pretty much do the same thing. And also the air and ground versions of our specials will also just be grouped together. It's my tier list and I do what I want. With that said, starting towards the bottom, we thankfully only have 3 buttons, with 6P, 5D, and JK. Going from the left, 6P is the universal anti-air in this game. It's invincible about from above her knee. It does a pretty fine job at anti-airing, but it sometimes loses to certain moves like Maze JS or Testament's JH. It can also counterpoke moves that hit waste up, like most far slashes do in this game, but then again, so does pretty much every other 6P. It also just doesn't have that much utility in, say, combos or mix-ups or anything, so I really can't rate it any higher than it is. This ain't no Testament, that's for sure. 5D, the reactable overhead. I mean, what is there to say about it? It's an overhead that everyone else has. It's the same speed as everyone else's, but it's got a pretty small hitbox size, and in the wrong circumstance, you can't even combo off of it. So it really doesn't do anything too crazy, and I kind of wish the hitbox was big. So it's towards the bottom. Plus, you've got plenty of other ways to mix your opponent up as well. Rounding out this tier, we have JK, which is unfortunately, I think, Bridget's worst aerial. You'd think that with the animation, it'd be pretty great for cross-ups during pressure, but look at this hitbox. Did her other leg just disappear? It also leaves you at pretty bad frame advantage on blocks. You can't jump in with it and start pressure. It also just doesn't have that much combo utility. It's easily, I think, the worst move with her kit. Only reason I use it is to fake overheads during pressure. Sorry, buddy. Now that that's over, we can move a tier up, towards the good moves, starting with Baby. Now, when you're first getting started with Bridget, down in floor 8 or whatever, this is a pretty good move. But as you go up in the Guilty Gear food chain against better players, this becomes worse and worse. It has 27 frames of startup. Why? Almost half a second. Also, you can grab a command grab on reaction. Why? Now, don't get me wrong. It's nice for the character to have a command grab at all, especially an Arrow K1, but come on, Arxis. You can shave off 3, maybe 4 frames from its startup. It'll make it a little bit more bearable. Trust me, it's an excellent matchup check against people that don't know it. Roger Dive is next up, and I really used to write this move off and call it a bit of a meme. It's got lengthy startup, doesn't lead to any combos, and is unsafe at -6. But when you look a bit deeper, this move does have a couple redeeming qualities. If you have Meteor, it's actually pretty good combo filter, as it does up to 52 damage on both hits. This makes her her 3rd most damaging move. And also, anyone who does just play fighting games knows that having a dive kick is always pretty strong. You can really mess with people's muscle memory when they try and anti-air you. So do not write this move off. Use it a couple times when you jump in or during corner combos, and you can really tack on some damage. Shoot comes up after that. It's a really simple move. It's fast, it does some decent damage, and comes out of Kickstart My Heart. It's mainly a combo ender and neutral skip thanks to its speed. But even then, it's not that great of a neutral skip thanks to Kickstart's massive hurt box. Also, in the corner, I'd usually rather end with break most of the time because you can set up a meaty yo-yo off of it and continue pressure instead. And don't even get me started on just how unsafe this move is if you whiff or have it. Shoot is also just way harder to combo with in general as opposed to break, which can be used in more situations. .5P might be a surprise to some people as to why it's so low, but really it's just not as good as 2P in my opinion. Now, it's a good move. It's your primary round start in most matchups thanks to its range, and it's really good at keeping your opponent stuck at a mid-range. But it does lose to 6P pretty easily, and it's got little combo potential since 6K just doesn't hit at the tip of its range. It's a fine move. It's near necessary if you want to try and beat characters like these. But it does have some things really weighing it down. Not to mention, trading Bridget's 5P for a more traditional one that can anti-air is pretty big. Loop the loop. Oh, loop the loop. If only it was invincible. It's just not that great of a super. It lacks invincibility on startup, and what you trade for that is mediocre damage, very poor range, tons of end lag, and just lack of utility. It's your highest damage move, so of course you want to wall break with it to end combos, but it just completely lacks utility. It's really just a super. A very lacking one at that, but hey, you can do this. JP has two purposes. Air to airing and sometimes beating 60. It's just okay. Doesn't deal damage, doesn't have much combo utility, and it also sucks for jumping in. Not much else to say about it. It gets the job done. 6K. Now, this move did recently get a buff where it thankfully doesn't leave a gap on block after blocking lights. But even then, it's not anything too crazy. It does give her a pretty neat conversion off of light for damage and can help extend your block strings a little bit, but it hits mid and is a little bit on the minus side, so you can't really use it for staggers to open people up. It's nice for her to have one, and I'd probably feel it if it was gone, but still, nothing too amazing. Now this one's a bit of a hot take, but we've got 236 SNH. This move can be quite strong, but it's got a very big caveat. Now, it seems like a really good fireball. You can use it grounded or in the air, it covers a good angle, it lasts for a long time to the point where you can make it medium plus, and it's not too unsafe as a fireball. However, you can only do this once every 3 seconds, unless you block or get hit, and by then it's probably already too late. Hell, if you use it at close range, it can even be 6 speed? As a block swing ender, it's just not that great mid-screen, but in the corner it's pretty good. It also does enable rolling movement, but I mean, so does its older brother, who we'll get to later. So yeah, I can understand if you like this move a little bit more, but I really only use this move depending on the matchups, or during corner LP. Now we go another tier up to attacks that are very powerful within their niche. These attacks are good, sometimes very good. They get the job done and they do it well, but ultimately aren't super crazy and can probably be outshined by ones that are just more versatile. And one of those is 6H. 6H is a move that's kind of fallen out of favor for me. I mean, I used to love this move. What's not to love about it? I mean, it's a big ass cannon that counter hits them for a huge ass combo. What's not to love about it? But then they decided to nerf the damage scaling on it as a combo starter, and it's just not worth it anymore. Now, it's a worse combo starter, but that doesn't make it useless. It blows up wake up, throw, or backdash in the corner for it, and it's active for quite some time. Six H also lets you do this setup in the corner, which leaves you plus, meaning you can frame trap or just play mind games with your opponent. It wall bounces in the corner for combo extensions, and it does pretty good damage. It's a fine attack, and I'm glad she has it, but unfortunately it does very little mid-screen and falls out of its niche pretty fast. JD is very good. It allows you to delay your jump in and potentially bait anti-airs from your opponent to mix them up. And speaking of mix-ups, this is the primary aerial you'll be using during Oki to hit your opponent overhead. It's got multiple hits, so it's hard to block too, but really it's just not amazing at anything else. You don't use it for combos because it just knocks them away and it doesn't deal a whole lot of damage. Still, good to have. Coming up next is Starship, and I mean, what even needs to be said? It's a DP. It's a blessing that this character has one that lets you escape frame traps, untrue safe jumps, and wake-up pressure. Use it with Roman Cancel to take your turn. It's also just about as fast as any other reversal gets in this game at 9 frames, so it's good at doing that. Now with that said, it kinda sucks at everything else. It's bad at ending combos because it knocks them far away, and it does very little damage. It also can't be used airborne, so you can't use it to beat anti-air attempts. So it's a DP, pretty alright one, but just not the best. Break is next on the list, and between the two Kickstart My Heart follow-ups, this is easily my more favored one. It just has way more utility. It's only -6, so you can actually use it pretty safely, as it's got some distance to on the hitbox. Use it as a block swing ender, and opponents will struggle to punish it. You can also still use it as a combo ender and get Oki, especially in the corner where you can set up a meaty yo-yo toss. It also extends combos in the right situation. It starts combos, it does just about everything, except damage. Granted, this is Bridget we're playing as, so damage isn't really a given, but really it's just nice to have her. I'd definitely be missing it to shoot with all. 2P runs up as what I think is just better than 5P. In exchange for just a smidge less horizontal range, you get a move that beats low profiles, has better combo potential as a starter, and just has better frame data. It's just a better attack overall with way less whiff recovery. while also pretty much fulfilling the same niche as 5P does, which is space control. It's definitely the move I just find myself using way more. 5H. 5H. Alright, so there's a lot to like about this move. It's huge. About a third of the screen is covered by this ginormous hitbox that this move covers. Range alone makes it pivotal in matchups like Axel, Chaos, or Asuka, so that way you can poke them from long distances. It also leads to a lot of reward on counter hit, mid-screen, or in the corner. But then you look at the frame data, and well, that's where things get tricky. It has 28 frames of whiff recovery, almost half a second. This makes it very whiff punishable, as you can just beat it by jumping over it, or hitting it with a low profile. And why is the hurt box so big? It's another one of those moves that's very matchup dependent. Against characters that like to fight you at a distance, it's very good. But in the wrong time and place, it's a great way to leave yourself open and isekai yourself into the next round. 5K is next up. While it isn't the notoriously powerful move that is its faster crouching cousin, it's still very powerful. It's faster than her punches, making it better suited to a barre, and it's very good at combo extensions during juggles. You can still use it as a mid-range poke, too. Lately it's been my go-to mash move during defense, but still leads to a 2D knockdown at most ranges, and overall, it's just a very good K button. It doesn't really low crush or do anything too amazing, but still. Return of the Killing Machine. God, that sounds like the name of a JoJo. This move is pretty good, and easily the better super between the two. It can be used in the air, hits up the full screen, and it's plus on block, so you can extend pressure with it. It's a move you can kind of just use if you don't mind the 50-meter cost. Now, it does deal pretty low damage for a super and can easily just be dodged, but still, this is definitely the super you'll be using more often as it just has way more utility. Next is both the heavy and slash button follow-ups. Now, they both pretty much do the same thing. They allow you to confirm off your slash normals for a screen carry or wall bounce. This gives you Oki or a combo respectively. This also allows you to go into Blue Wild Assault almost gaplessly. You can check out this video if you want more info on that. You can also frame trap with them, which can be pretty difficult, but rewarding. And without them, the character would definitely suffer, so they're nice to have. They enable combos, and they enable mix-ups thanks to Wild Assault, so I would definitely notice if these moves are gone. JH steps up to the plate, and this is another attack that can be very good when used properly. It covers a ton of horizontal distance in the air, so you can use it to smack out opponents jumping towards you if you're also in the air. You can also Gatling it out of JS. This allows you to extend combos like this, or do mix-ups like this. It's pretty good and damaging, but you also don't really want to jump in with it, as its flame advantage is also just worse than JS. Overall, it's just a less versatile counterpart to JS, but still, it gets the job done when it needs to. And to finish off this tier, we've got 2H. I love this button. From the animation, to the hitbox, to the niche it fills within Bridget's kit, it does about everything you can ask for. It even hits low profile for some reason, and you can easily frame trap with it using the H follow-up that the button has. However, you can kiss your ass goodbye if you whiff it for some reason, and it also gets 6 speed. Why? It also just can't be used as a reactive anti-air, and it is instead a proactive, as opposed to 6 speed. Besides all that though, it's still a very good normal. One of the best in its class of 2Hs for sure. And now we're at the tippity top of Bridget's moveset. These are the ones that define her game plan, and the ones you should be moving basically as much as you possibly can. And no attack defines that capability better, perhaps, than her 2K. You know what, I'm just going to pair it with her 2D, because whenever you see this move, you know what's coming up next. 2K is a 5-frame low, the fastest low in her entire kit. Now, it doesn't have a low profile or anything like others in the class, but still, it's fast, it's got good range, and leads into 2D at basically everywhere except for the very cusp of its range. And it gets the job done. You use it for mix-ups, a barre, beating staggers, and more. And then you Gatling it into 2D, and then the party begins. 2D also leads into a nice combo on counter hit, so that's pretty cool. Still, the fact that 2K leads right into this character's win condition is invaluable. When you hit 2K, there is hope. Close Slash is up next, and I really want to like this move. It does everything a Close Slash should. It's plus on block, it extends combos, does decent damage, leads to her optimals, it does everything. Unfortunately, it is weighed down, genuinely, by being 2 hits. This makes it lose hard to FD as it knocks you back super far. Sure, the multi-hitting nature does make things easier to hit confirm, but really I just prefer if it was 1 hit. Come on, sis. Still though, it's a necessary move for Bridget, and I'm glad she has it. And then we come to Kickstart My Heart. Now, when I say this, I'm talking about the move itself, not even either of its followers. It's a pretty good movement tool against those that are just sleeping in neutral, and if you connect with it at the late end, it's plus on block. That's fucking awesome. It moves really fast. You can cover the entire screen in a flash. It's a fantastic move for combos, pressure, or just movement, and I think that all adds up with its follow-ups to make this one of the best moves in the entire game. 2S is another just invaluable normal, and I think it's one of the best in its whole class. It hits low, it hits low profiles, multi-hits, extends combos, it does just about everything you can want in a 2S. It's pivotal in a lot of neutral situations because opponents that don't know the matchup will just spam 6Ps against your other normals. So you can just easily throw out 2S to throw them off their game. It's a very, very good normal with not too much whiff recovery. So if you're not using it, you're playing yourself. Moving towards the end here, we've got Far Slash. Bridget's Far Slash does also just about everything you want in a Far Slash. Almost. It's fast, it's got low whiff recovery, it leads to a combo, it's got range. What more could you want? Well, I'd like for it to not completely lose to 6P and also have a hurt box the size of Texas, but you know, what can you do? Still, it's basically the normal you'll be using in neutral. And the fact that it also leads to combos, mid-screen or not, is also pretty nice. JS comes up next, and you may be surprised to see it up here, but really, I think this normal's fantastic. It covers a 90-degree angle in front of Bridget. How crazy is that?
That's quite big. Impressive.
It also extends combos, covers a whole lot of air and ground space, and is generally just a great normal to throw out. It's your primary jump-in as it's +3 off of an IAD, and also the multi-hitting nature allows you to go for mix-ups. It's easily the best burial in your kit, and you'll learn to love or hate it, depending on which side you're on. But getting back to moves that truly define who Bridget is as a character, we've got rolling movement. While stop and dash might be the peanut butter, this is a jelly that completes the sandwich. This is easily one of the best moves in the entire game. It unlocks a whole nother crazy realm of potential movement options in neutral for Bridget to use, and it also enables her mix-ups. This move is stupidly plus on block on connection. Plus 16? It's plus on block enough to legally drink! With the fact that you can cancel it into any air normal or special, you can unleash a cacophony of mix-ups into your neutral or your own. It's another character-defining special move and one that the character herself would not trade for anything. It's that good. But even still, there is just one move that stands and looms tall, high above the rest. If you've played as or against Bridget, you know what it is without any explanation. It's 2 4S, baby. Now what does this attack do? I mean, shit, what doesn't it do? In neutral, you have a full screen length track that forces the opponent to choose an option. If it just stands still, you win the game. On Oki, I mean, what even needs to be said? You can also use it during block strings as a fake out, you can use it to air stall when jumping to bait anti-airs. This move does just about everything. This move alone defines entire matchups, and your opponent's game plan is defined by how well they can deal with it at all phases of the game. It is at the tippity top of Bridget's game plan is perhaps what defines her as a strat character. You can use it in neutral, you can use it during offense, you can use it in the air, on the ground. If you're not using this move, you fucking suck. Sorry. Anyway, that's my tier list of every one of Bridget's attacks in Guilty Gear Strive so far. As always, if you enjoyed the video at least a little bit, make sure you subscribe, like the video, comment on it, all that good stuff. And if you want to see more content, do let me know in the comments what you'd like to see me produce in the future. Until then, though, this is Yahoo. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care.